Ado Hrishta Roma Dhananjaya Pranamya Shirasa Devam Kritanjalir Abhashata. Translation. Then, bewildered and astonished, his hair standing on end, Arjuna began to pray with folded hands, offering obeisances to the Supreme Lord. Text 15. Arjuna uvacha pashyami devam strava deva dehe sarvam tata bhuta vishesha sangan brahmanam isham kamala sanastam rishimscha sarvan ugramscha divyam. Translation. Arjuna said, My dear Lord Krishna, I see assembled together in your body all the demigods and various other living entities. I see Brahma sitting on the lotus flower as well as Lord Shiva and many sages and divine serpents. Text 16. Aneka badhudara vaktra netram Pashyami tvam sarvato nanto rupam nantam na madhyam na punastavadim pashyami vishvarupa. Translation. O Lord of the universe, I see in your universal body many, many forms, bellies, mouths, eyes, expanded without limit. There is no end, there is no beginning, and there is no middle to all this. Text 17. Kiritinam gadinam chakrinam cha tejo rashim sarvato diptimantam pasyami tvam dunirgisham samantan dipta nalarka dutum aprameyam. Translation. Your form, adorned with various crowns, clubs, and discs, is difficult to see because of its glaring effulgence, which is fiery and immeasurable like the sun. Text 18. Dvam aksharam paramam veditavyam dvam asya vishvasya param nidhanam Tvam avyaya shashvata dharma gopta sanatanas tvam purusho mato me. Translation. You are the supreme primal objective. You are the best in all the universes. You are inexhaustible and you are the oldest. You are the maintainer of religion, the eternal personality of Godhead. Text 19. Anadi madhyantam ananta viryam ananta bahum shashi surya netram pasyami tvam deepta hutasha vaktram svatejasa vishvam idam tapantam. Translation. You are the origin without beginning, middle, or end. You have numberless arms, and the sun and moon are among your great unlimited eyes. By your own radiance, you are heating this entire universe. Text 20. Dyav apritivyor idam ataram hi vyaptam tvaya ikena dishascha sarva dristvadbhutam rupam ugram tevedam lokatayam pravyadhitam mahatman. Translation. Although you are one, you are spread throughout the sky and the planets and all space between. O Great One, as I behold this terrible form, I see that all the planetary systems are perplexed. Text 21. Amiha hitvam surasanga vishanti kechid bita pranjaloya grinanti svasti yuktva maharsi siddhasanga stuvanti tvam stutibi pushkalabi. Translation. All the demigods are surrendering and entering into you. They are very much afraid, and with folded hands they are singing the Vedic hymns. Text 22. Rudraditya vasavo yecha sadhya vishves vinau moritash choshma pascha gandharva yakshar sura siddha sangha vikshante tvam vishmitashchaiva sarve. Translation: the different manifestations of Lord Shiva, the Adityas, the Vasus, the Sadhyas, the Vishvadevas, the two Ashvins, the Maruts, the forefathers, and the Gandharvas, the Yakshas, Asuras, and all perfected demigods are beholding you in wonder. Text 23, final text. Rupam mahate bahu vaktra netram mahabaho bahu rupadam bahudaram bahudam strikarlam trisvaloka pravyatitashtataham. Translation: O mighty armed one, all the planets with their demigods are disturbed at seeing your many faces, eyes, arms, bellies, and legs, and your terrible teeth. And as they are disturbed, so am I. Back to text 13, and I'll read the translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. At that time, Arjuna could see in the universal form of the Lord the unlimited expansions of the universe situated in one place, although divided into many, many thousands. Again, at that time, Arjuna could see in the universal form of the Lord the unlimited expansions of the universe situated in one place, although divided into many, many thousands. Purport: the word tatra there is very significant. It indicates that both Arjuna and Krishna were sitting on the chariot when Arjuna saw the universal form. Others on the battlefield could not see this form because Krishna gave the vision only to Arjuna. Arjuna could see in the body of Krishna many thousands of universes. As we learn from Vedic scriptures, there are many universes and many planets. Some of them are made of earth, some are made of gold, some are made of jewels, some are very great, some are not so great, etc. Sitting on his chariot, Arjuna could see all these universes, but no one could understand what was going on between Arjuna and Krishna. So this is the universal form is the Virat Rupa, and Arjuna already understands Krishna to be the divine supreme, but he's asking him these questions to go into further detail, so people in the future and anyone in the future can know it, so it's explainable to others in the future. Because if the Supreme Lord has a universal form, so is able to show that universal form. The Supreme Lord is the only one who can show the universal form. And the Supreme Lord is also the only one that's full of six opulences: wealth, power, fame, beauty, knowledge, renunciation, completely full in these opulences. And everything comes from Krishna. So everything is coming from Krishna. And there's nothing that doesn't come from Krishna. And Krishna is not reliant or on anything else. He doesn't come from anyone else the way most normal living entities do. And so Arjuna is asking these things, and Krishna is giving him divine vision. It's the only way Arjuna is able to see this, is that Krishna is giving divine vision. So Krishna can give, he can give this vision, this divine vision that Arjuna needed to see this thing. And it's a little scary. Arjuna's a little frightened by it. It's kind of a overwhelming, to some extent, a horrific thing to see. And so devotees don't wish to see this universal form, but we like to see the two-handed form of Krishna. And devotees are the only ones who can see this two-armed form of Krishna. And so this universal form is mentioned many times in the Bhagavad-gita as it is, and also the Srimad Bhagavatam. And it's even the demigods are getting a chance to see a little bit of this. They're seeing a little bit of what Arjuna is seeing, and so I'll go on to text 14 here. Then, bewildered and astonished, his hair standing on end, Arjuna began to pray with folded hands, offering obeisances to the Supreme Lord. Purport: once the divine vision is revealed, the relationship between Krishna and Arjuna changes immediately. Before, Krishna and Arjuna had a relationship based on friendship, but here, after the revelation, Arjuna is offering obeisances with great respect, and with folded hands, he is praying to Krishna. He is praising the universal form. Thus, Arjuna's relationship becomes one of wonder rather than friendship. Great devotees see Krishna as the reservoir of all relationships. In the scriptures, there are 12 basic kinds of relationships mentioned, and all of them are present in Krishna. It is said that he is the ocean of all relationships exchanged between two living entities, between the gods, or between the Supreme Lord and his devotees. It is said that Arjuna was inspired by the relationship of wonder, and in that wonder, although he was by nature very sober, calm, and quiet, he became ecstatic. His hair stood up, and he began to offer his obeisances unto the Supreme Lord with folded hands. He was not, of course, afraid. He was affected by the wonders of the Supreme Lord. The immediate context is wonder. His natural loving friendship was overwhelmed by wonder, and thus he reacted in this way. There's different kinds of relationship one can take with Krishna, one of awe and reverence, and one of friendship, a parent, conjugal lover, and there's different relationships like that. If we could actually look at plate 31, let me see, and we can see a picture of this universal form, this Virat Rupa. It's towards the front of the book, and there it is, the universal form, plate 31. And Arjuna's hair is standing on end, and he's bowing with awe and reverence, and because he's completely overwhelmed, and the relationship has changed from just one of friendship to one of awe and reverence. And you can see all of the Krishna's different forms, and they're both on the chariot, and everyone else at the battlefield can't necessarily see what they're seeing, but this would be quite the overwhelming sight, and where you see all things. You can see so much. You can see almost the whole cosmic manifestation all at once. And then he shows Arjuna his form as time. And he says, what is this form? And it's this great destructive form of time that he gets shown, because time is the great destroyer, with every setting of the sun, and for our time is so precious, and that's why we're trying to spend it being Krishna conscious, and doing the best thing that we can do is be Krishna conscious. It's the best way we can spend our time. Everything else is mundane, and because you get one chance, you get this one lifetime. We don't know what we had so many previous lifetimes, and we don't know necessarily what the next lifetime leads to. But if we can go deeper and deeper in devotional service, we can be very certain that we are using our time properly, and the next life will be an elevation, hopefully an extreme elevation, and hopefully we don't have to come back and take a human birth or a lower birth, or even a demigod birth, because a demigod birth, although it sounds like a highly exalted birth, and it is, because of all their deeds, someone might get a demigod birth, but still is not eternal. It's still not eternal happiness, which is what the soul is hankering for, is some eternal happiness. And that's why we don't pray to the demigods, and they might be able to grant some boon, but it's temporary, because a temporary being can only grant temporary boons. And so Krishna can grant a permanent totally soul satisfying boon of life, eternal life in the supreme, in Krishna Loka, in the spiritual world, which makes up 3/4 of the cosmic manifestation. This material world is just a small part. It's just a quarter of his manifestation. And in the spiritual world, there's no time as we know it. With this great destroyer, there's no time there. There's no duality in the same way that there's duality here in everything. There's good and bad and pain and pleasure, and people are just trying to get some sort of enjoyment here, probably because they don't have any better idea of what to do, but they're trying to squeeze a little bit of juice out of a fruit it's got no juice left in it, just a few drops. But the spiritual world is like a fruit that's has never ending nectar within it. There was a book called James and the Giant Peach, and by Roald Dahl, and I remember reading that, and just the way he would describe this fruit, so juicy, and he didn't know it, but he was describing something like you would see in the eternal world. And it's a peach that has juice, the sweetest juice, and it just keeps. There's more and more of it. It's like rivers of nectar that keep flowing and flowing eternally. And so this is the best way to spend our time, and not doing mundane things and just getting, pain and pleasure. And we saw so much in the material world that made us want to look for something else. And we saw that even our family relationships didn't seem to be so. We felt that there's something missing. Things are going so fast, something's missing. And these mundane friendships, they're putting themselves in the center. They're not putting God in the center. And isn't it about something bigger than me? Isn't it about something bigger than me? And unless we are thinking of ourselves as more humble, more tolerant than the tree, and more humble than the straw on the grass, we have to see ourselves like that. And even everybody, that means that, everybody out there, that it's all of us, and then it's Krishna. We're all this low level compared to Krishna. Krishna is the supreme, and we are all this. Even the entities that haven't found devotional service yet, or haven't had a chance to come across it, we're like them, and we were just like them maybe just a few years ago. And so we have to see ourselves. We have to see. It's really powerful to see the similarities that we have with them, even though we know we've found the great path of bhakti and devotional service, and we're trying to continually increase our devotional service. We're trying to never backtrack. We're trying to only maintain and elevate. And we can make a lot of progress, and we chanting the Maha Mantra every day, 16 rounds, and for many years, hopefully, for many years, and still relishing the taste of the Maha Mantra more and more, finding more and more pleasure in, and getting more and more out of it, and learning how to serve Krishna more and more. But even though we've maybe changed a lot in the past years, we still have to see what is the similarity that we have with every living entity out there. What is the similarity we have with the soul that's in the dog body? What's the similarity that we have with the soul that's in the ant body? And Magadari Prabhu the other day was speaking about, it's a dog eat dog world, and it really is. And we're required to take something, and we're required to give something. When you press on the accelerator, you get some progress, but there's also some things that are left behind, the exhaust. You see the smoke come out of the back of the vehicle. So you're getting some progress, and you're leaving something, you're getting something, and that's the material world. And, we all have different bodies. There might be a big dog and there might be a small dog, and a big dog naturally acts like a big dog. It would be silly for a big dog to not act like a big dog. There's certain things that a big dog, certain qualities of a big dog, and then there's certain qualities of a small dog as well. And so we're naturally acting in these bodies, which are, it's like a form of punishment. But the body is kind of like a punishment, because we have to take birth, we have to birth, old age, death, disease, death. And so these bodies are a form of punishment to some extent, but the devotees are not bewildered by that, and we're not downtrodden by that. We just want to serve no matter what our body is. We're trying to serve Krishna more and more. And the upadhis, these material designations, it's so easy to fall into thinking this way, whether we think that we're American or this is the best city, or it is a very nice city because Rupanuga Vedic College is here. But by thinking, even thinking there's a difference between any soul, it's sometimes thinking there's a difference between my soul and any other soul other than our natural relationship with Krishna, how we all have a different relationship with Krishna, but thinking that thinking myself maybe even higher than the ant or the dog to some extent, it's a little bit of an upadhi, maybe, of a material designation, where if you just see every living entity, even the tree, see that soul inside the tree, and see that everything the soul that tree is doing for all the living entities, how it's providing shade and shelter, and it's allowing Krishna the tree is allowing some place for Krishna to kick the demon into. Sometimes Krishna would defeat many demons, like the Bakasura demon and other demons, the ass demon. And very often, how would he finish them off? He would throw them into the tree, just pick up this heaviest thing. And when he was completely done with them, he would just throw them into the tree. So the tree is doing that. It's helping provide that too. And I was going to quickly look at 7.6 has the purport has something nice about the universal form. 7.6 of all translation of all that is material and all that is spiritual in this world, know for certain that I am both its origin and dissolution. Let me find it here. Similarly, he says, this material body is developed because spirit is present within matter. A child grows gradually to boyhood and then to manhood because of that superior energy, spirit soul, being present. Similarly, the entire cosmic manifestation of the gigantic universe is developed because of the presence of the supersoul Vishnu. Therefore, spirit and matter, which combine together to manifest this gigantic universal form, are originally two energies of the Lord, and consequently the Lord is the original cause of everything. Also, another text, 8.4, translation, physical nature is known to be endlessly mutable. The universe is the cosmic form of the Supreme Lord. And I am that Lord represented as the Supersoul, dwelling in the heart of every embodied being. Later on in the purport, he says, the gigantic universal form of the Lord is called Adidaivatam is contemplated by the neophyte who cannot approach the Supreme Lord in his manifestation as Supersoul. The neophyte is advised to contemplate the universal form whose legs are considered the lower planets and whose eyes are considered the sun and moon and whose head is considered the upper planetary system. So it's good for us to remember that the legs are considered the lower planet, the eyes are the sun and the moon, and whose head is considered the upper planetary system. Also 9:15, 9. Others who are engaged in the cultivation of knowledge worship the Supreme Lord as the one without a second, diverse in many, and in the universal form. But there are other, in the purport he says, but there are others who are still lower, and these are divided into three. One, he who worships himself as one with the Supreme Lord. Two, he who concocts some form of the Supreme Lord and worships that. And three, he who accepts the universal form, the Vishvarupa of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and worships that. Out of the above three, the lowest, those who worship themselves as the Supreme Lord, thinking themselves to be monists, are most predominant. Such people think themselves to be the Supreme Lord, and in this mentality, they worship themselves. This is also a type of God worship, for they can understand that they are not the material body, but are actually spirit soul. At least such a sense is prominent. Generally, the impersonalists worship the Supreme Lord in this way. The second class includes the worshippers of the demigods, those who, by imagination, consider any form to be the form of the Supreme Lord. And the third class includes those who cannot conceive of anything beyond the manifestation of this material universe. They consider the universe to be the supreme organism or entity and worship that. The universe is also a form of the Lord. And even Srimad Bhagavatam, just to read a quick verse in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.3.1. It says here, Sutta said, in the beginning of the creation, the Lord first expanded himself in the universal form of the Purusha incarnation and manifested all the ingredients for the material creation. And thus, at first, there was the creation of the 16 principles of material action. This was for the purpose of creating the material universes. And also Canto 2, Chapter 1, 27. Says, the knees of the universal form are the planetary system of the name Sutala, and the two thighs are the Vitala and Atala planetary systems. The hips are Mahitala, and outer space is the depression of his navel. Is that last one here? 11:24:21. Translation: I am the basis of the universal form, which displays endless variety through the repeated creation, maintenance, and destruction of the planetary systems, originally containing within itself all planets in their dormant state. My universal form manifests the varieties of created existence by arranging the coordinated combination of the 5 elements. Back to Bhagavad-gita as it is, 11:15. Arjuna said, my dear Lord Krishna, I see assembled together in your body all the demigods and various other living entities. I see Brahma sitting on the lotus flower. as well as Lord Shiva and many sages and divine serpents. Purport. Arjuna sees everything in the universe. Therefore, he sees Brahma, who is the first creature in the universe, and the celestial serpent, upon which the Garbhodakashayi Vishnu lies in the lower regions of the universe. This snake bed is called Vasuki. There are also other snakes known as Vasuki. Arjuna can see from the Garbhodakashayi Vishnu up to the topmost part of the universe on the lotus flower planet where Brahma, the first creature of the universe, resides. That means that from the beginning to the end, everything could be seen by Arjuna sitting in one place on his chariot. This was possible by the grace of the Supreme Lord Krishna. So he has seen some sort of, something that is beyond time. He's seen beginning and end at the same time. So that means it's a spiritual vision that's beyond the material designations. And even Brahma, who was empowered to create this universe, he didn't always know that Lord Shri Krishna is the supreme living entity. He had to try to trace, he knew he was trying to trace out this lotus stem, what's at the bottom of this lotus stem. And then, his prayers to Krishna when he does find, when he has to be convinced some different times, and one time he's like, this little blue boy is the Supreme Lord, the absolute truth. And so he steals all the cowherd boys and all the cows and then puts them in a cave. And then he's very surprised to go back and see that Lord Krishna is still playing with those same boys and same cows. And so he becomes bewildered, and he says, this Krishna consciousness is very rare to find. And if one finds it, one should purchase it without delay. And so we have to think like that. We have to become all in and purchase it all in without delay. Sometimes you get a chance for a deal, a great deal, Hey, we've got a Srimad Bhagavatam set for $10 or something like that. You get like an amazing deal that's you would almost never find that. And you've been looking for the Srimad Bhagavatam, and someone gives you that offer, but they say, well, I'm leaving right now. This deal is going. I'm only going to be here for 10 minutes. So you have one chance to purchase that and get that great deal. So we have one chance to get this great deal, this Krishna consciousness, and to go all in and to be completely absorbed and not just go along for the ride, but to be completely ecstatic along the way and take as many people as we can with us, because it's like we've been shown where the water source is. We're all so thirsty in the material world. We all just need a drink. We're in the desert and there's mirages everywhere. We keep thinking but finally someone shows us some water. A devotee shows us some water, and then so we found some water. So we're enthusiastically drinking, and we say, "Oh, I'll never forget you showing me this water. Thank you so much. I was so thirsty, and I was actually dying. And thank you for showing me this water." And then now I have to go back and tell the whole town, because the whole town is actually also dying of thirst. So we have to tell everybody. Everybody needs this. Everybody needs this book. There's no one, if someone doesn't have this book, then they also need it. And it's just a matter of approaching them in the right way, and they will see its value. And everyone needs this in their library, this book. Everyone needs, they may say, I don't read, maybe someone's blind. Well, we've got audiobooks too. You need an audiobook on your library. A new audiobook. You need Bhagavad-gita as it is, with all the purports and everything. And you can listen to this even a little bit, even 5-10 minutes a day of reading is how much better than no reading, Think of it like that. It's 100% better than no reading. So even a small amount, you can think of it is 100% better than zilch, nothing. And so just, even if someone can only read 5-10 minutes a day, that is something. That's 100% better than nothing. And then what to speak of 30 minutes or an hour of reading a day, and that's 1,000 times even better than zilch. And so, and it can be audiobooks. It can be, we can read the books that we've already read before, and Srila Prabhupada's books and the devotees' books keep getting better and better as you read them over and over again. You'll find more and more, and it sinks in. And even listening to classes from the great swamis and the great devotees, and listening to their classes and listening to the memories of Srila Prabhupada, it enlivens you, and we want to be enlivened. So we know that's what's good for us, and so we have to do it. And if we stray too far away from that, it doesn't feel so nice, but you get back in the routine of, I always, I listen to 10 minutes of Srila Prabhupada memories a day, and I read for 30 minutes a day Bhagavad-gita as it is, or having some sort of set plan, and take some notes. If that helps you, especially getting going, take some notes of your progress, and that way you're keeping track of things, and it's going to help. You're going to see that progress. In fact, when I teach guitar, we have this practice planner, and it basically has about 26 weeks in it. And it's one of the best things. The best students are using this practice planner, where it doesn't take much, but at the end of their practice or during their practice, all they have to do is, it has a place on every 2 pages. On the left side, it's got a place for some notes that they can take. On the right side, it's like, day 1, day 2, day 3, it goes all the way through day 7. And it's got about 26 of those weeks in there. And so the best ones are, every day they write down just the pieces that they were working on and the time that they spent on it. And also metronome marking. A metronome is the steady click. So the idea is you start very slow, and it may take a couple days to get to the metronome, but then hopefully you're able to play it at like 40 beats a minute. And then by the end of the week, hopefully you're up to maybe 100 or 200 beats a minute. So you can actually see, it's really healthy for us to see progress within 1 week. It enlivens the soul. And because you can look and say, oh, on day 3, I was only doing 45 beats a minute, but now it's day 7 and I'm doing 200 beats a minute. So you want to be able to see. It's really nice if we can feel not just long-term growth that's kind of hard to get a handle on, but if you can have a way of charting your weekly growth and keeping track of that. In fact, I think I might try to get some of those practice planners, and I think I might start using those instead of just writing them in a book. A good planner where you keep track of your progress can be very, very powerful, and help you see, like, I'm making progress every week. I'm making progress every day, even if it's just a little bit of progress. Text 16. O Lord of the universe, I see in your universal body many, many forms, bellies, mouths, eyes, expanded without limit. There is no end, there is no beginning, and there is no middle to all this. Purport. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and is unlimited. Thus, through him, everything could be seen. Text 17. Your form, adorned with various crowns, clubs, and discs, is difficult to see because of its glaring effulgence, which is fiery and immeasurable like the sun. So the glaring effulgence is fiery and immeasurable like the sun. The sun is, we're just like bits of sunshine. We're small, we're infinitesimal, but we are just like the drop of ocean. We have the thing, we have Krishna, we have a small drop, we're a small drop of Krishna. He is the gigantic form, he is infinite. but we still have that drop. So we have to nurture that drop and protect that drop very carefully. And text 15, Arjuna said, "My dear Lord Krishna, I see assembled together in your body all the demigods and various other living entities. I see Brahma sitting on the lotus flower, as well as Lord Shiva and many sages and divine serpents." Purport: Arjuna sees everything in the universe. Therefore, he sees Brahma, who is the first creature in the universe, and the celestial. Did I read this? Okay. I think we're going on. Text 18. You are the supreme primal objective. You are the best in all the universes. You are inexhaustible, and you are the oldest. You are the maintainer of religion, the eternal personality of Godhead. So here he is praising the supreme Lord Krishna. He's not only he always knew he was his cousin, and he knew he was his chariot driver, and now that he's seen the universal form, he is praising him. He's in awe. He's in complete awe, and he says, "You are the supreme primal objective." So a primal objective would be to go back to Godhead. That's the primal objective that every living entity is hankering for, that every living being wants, because they are not subject to they are not just a temporary being. They are, they are also eternal. They're without birth and death, but they may be fooled because their mirror is dirty. Cheto darpanam marginum. Their mirror is very dirty, and they don't really see things as they really are. And this is the supreme knowledge, Raja Vijay Rajaguyam, Pavitram Idam Uttamam, Praktashavam Gamam Dharmyam, Susukum Kartum Avyayam. This knowledge is the king of education, the most secret of secrets. It is the purest knowledge. And because it gives direct perception of the self by realization, it is the perfection of religion, it is everlasting, and it is joyfully performed. Text 19. You are the origin without beginning, middle, or end. You have numberless arms, and the sun and moon are among your great unlimited eyes. By your own radiance, you are heating this entire universe. So the sun rays stretch out to the ends of the universe. Purport: there's no limit to the extent of the six opulences of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Here and in many other places, there is repetition, but according to the scriptures, repetition of the glories of Krishna is not a literary weakness. It is said that at a time of bewilderment or wonder or of great ecstasy, statements are repeated over and over. That is not a flaw. Text 20. Although you are one, you are spread throughout the sky and the planets and all space between. O Great One, as I behold this terrible form, I see that all the planetary systems are perplexed. Purport: Yav Apritivyo, the space between heaven and earth, and Lokatarayam, 3 worlds, are significant words in this verse, because it appears that not only Arjuna saw this universal form of the Lord, but others in other planetary systems also saw it. The vision was not a dream. All who are spiritually awake with the divine vision saw it. Text 21. All the demigods are surrendering and entering into you. They are very much afraid, and with folded hands they are singing the Vedic hymns. Purport: the demigods and all the planetary systems feared the terrific manifestation of the universal form and its glowing effulgence, and so prayed for protection. So even the demigods are absolutely frightened, and they're praying for protection. Text 22. The different manifestations of Lord Shiva, the Adityas, the Vasus, the Sajas, the Vishvadevas, the 2 Ashvins, the Maruts, the forefathers, and the Gandharvas, the Yakshas, Asuras, and all perfected demigods are beholding you in wonder. So even the demons, even the Asuras are beholding in wonder and seeing this. Those are the lower worlds, the higher worlds, and the middle worlds. 23, O mighty armed one, all the planets with their demigods are disturbed at seeing your many faces, eyes, arms, bellies, and legs, and your terrible teeth. And as they are disturbed, so am I. Does anyone have a nice comment that they'd like to share about these verses, or maybe a question? All right. Yes. Okay. Comment from Jagannath Prabhu.
I really like that practical advice that you gave about writing down in a journal our progress and how it's crucial for us who are practicing spirituality, because even the people who are practicing music are writing down notes and things like that. So let's speak of someone who's reaching for the highest goal in life. So I just really appreciated that. And I think I'm going to start doing that. Actually, I don't know, because I don't know if I have time, but I really like that though. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. In fact, I took a quote from one of the students about the practice planner, because I was going to give I took a quote from it, and they said, it helps me stay motivated. Instead of playing guitar, I'll just substitute the word devotion. It helps me stay motivated with devotional service. So it can actually motivate us and keep us on track, because that's part of, if that's my duty every day, is to take a quick note as to, and you know, it can even be memorizing a verse one a week. That could be something that you notate every day. It's like, well, the verse is 40% there. And then hopefully by day 4, you know, it's like, well, the verse is 100% there. And so it could be regarding some different things, or, you know, you can put in, I'm memorizing a verse. You could chart your reading progress. They also said, once I see the planner, it reminds me to practice. So when you see that planner, that's going to remind, I need to put something in that planner every day. So that's going to remind us to do that devotional work, the reading or the verse memorization. And they love seeing the progress, the metronome number go up, and it helps the confidence, and it affirms the work I've been putting in. So a lot of good things can happen if we use something like this practice planner, I think. So, all right. Well, I guess that's about all the time we have. Bhagavad-gita as it is. Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada. Ki Jai.